Hey guys, how you doing? This is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. And today I want to touch on a little bit of a touchy topic, but it's something that I'm hearing a lot and I hear a lot floating around on different, TV sites, different congregations. I hear it at different church services. I'm hearing it on social media a lot. So I wanted to really give a little bit of balance to the conversation because I hear two sides of the argument really kind of saying some of the things and getting some of it right to me, but they're not able to meet in the middle because I believe there is a balance. On this Wisdom Winter, we're going to talk about victory begins in the mind. Now, with that, right, when you hear the topic victory begins in the mind, there's a counter narrative right out there that I think is kind of becoming a prevalent narrative, which I think has some good points, but it needs to again be balanced. And this is when people start talking about, well, you have this victim mindset, right? Or you're playing the victim card, or you're playing the race card, or you're playing the it's those people keeping me down card, right? And I'm hearing it over and over and over and over and over again. And as for someone who's pretty entrenched in public policy, right? Somebody who deals with organizations and who researches a lot of organizations that I had the opportunity to work with or work for, or had the opportunity to get offered a position at, or either a contract or something like that. And somebody who's really really knowledgeable. Not that there are people out there that are way better than me that could kind of really tap into this topic, but I'm pretty knowledgeable to a certain extent, about American history and how public policy and how different circumstances and situations shaped where we are as a nation. And when you hear a lot about victim mindset, right, it's usually targeted to minorities, right, particularly African Americans, right. You hear a lot from the other minority communities, those the concept that, hey man, I came here with nothing, I built myself up, now we're this and we're that, right? Why is it that African Americans can't make the same strides, if you will? It's a pity party. It's a victimhood mentality. And to some extent, I understand, right? I understand on the surface, right? And let's be honest, there are some people who are just, taking this situation to play the victim card, right? You didn't necessarily go through those things. You just made bad choices as to why you are where you are. But when you look at the country as a whole, and you don't focus on one group, you just take a big look at the country overall, you see that every group has those people that have somewhat of a victimhood mentality. It's not just African Americans or minorities. Even the majority, has their times where they quote unquote play the victim card. But so it's a people thing. It's not something that's intrinsically in one group or another. It's a people thing, right? And the issue that I have with that is twofold. One, it's it's uh it's a little it puts a situation in play that most people don't really understand. And what I mean by that is, while there is something to be said about personal accountability, your decision making, right? Your decisions, your results, right? And taking accountability for the decisions you made, the opportunities you took advantage of, or those you didn't. There is systematic public policy issues that were addressed, that still need to be addressed, that have to be dealt with. And to put it off to say, if we just change our minds, these public policy issues don't matter. That is factually inaccurate. That is 100% inaccurate. To say that it was something that happened in the past that is not happening today, where there's not some sort of systematic oppression, or in a something that's kind of holding people at a level, or at least letting some people in but not really fair across the board, um is inaccurate. Now, one thing I will say is there will never be fair, right? I don't believe that we will get to a place where everything is fair, because there are too many situational, circumstantial things out there. I'm not being idealistic by saying there should be fair, but when it comes to public policy, it should be blind. And for a good, better portion of our country, public policy was not blind. And there are things that are in public policy right now that we have a whole group of people fighting that still is not blind. It is designed in a way to advance one group and keep down another group. And whether you think your mind can get you past that, maybe it can. But for a lot of people, they don't have the opportunity, and I think that that is something that is well overlooked when you start talking about people having a victimhood mentality, because what you see becomes your reality, right? Now, the second part to that is there is personal responsibility, accountability, all of those different things that you can put in that column. What do I mean by that? Because something happened to you doesn't mean it has to destroy you. It doesn't have to, or because you started further back than other groups of people or other people, doesn't mean you can't win the race if you don't do the right thing, put in the work, and make the right choices, right? There has to be a marriage between the two, right? And depending on which way a person bends, depends on what God has called them to do. And what happens is, I see a lot of times that people that are in the activism arena, and that God is really called to be the leaders as far as government officials, politicians. And I'm not going to say who's good or who's bad or anything like that. But there are people who are called to those offices, right? And unfortunately, it's just the people with the money and the connections that get in. But there are people that are truly called to make a difference from a public policy standpoint. And what happens is those guys are telling them it's all public policy, and that's not true. And then there are people who are successful, who've quote unquote picked themselves up from their bootstraps, and they say, well, I did it. This is how I did it. You can do it too. Well, that's not always the case, right? And what I mean by that is, statistically speaking, it's designed for a certain amount of people to get through the funnel and make it. Now, you could be one of those super tough people that can get through, but it is not as easily adaptable as we may think, right? Because there are a lot of factors and situations when it comes to information being withheld. And that's kind of going away a little bit with the internet, but you still have to have the knowledge to weed through what's real and what's not. Um, all I'm saying is, too many times we victimize the other side of the aisle when really we should be trying to marry the two. There shouldn't be as much division. There should be some cooperation. Yes, we do need those people that are going to work on the mind and push for self accountability and accountability. And then, but we do need those people to really dig into public policy, so more people, when they do get their minds changed, when they are ready for success, have an avenue at which to they can accomplish that success. And because it's Wisdom Wednesday, and I'm a believer, I have a scripture here, and two of them, right? It says, "Do not be conformed to this world." Well, Romans chapter 12, verse 2. "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable is perfect and perfect." Renew your mind, right? From the accountability standpoint, right? You have to renew your mind. You have to think of things differently. You have to give yourself new information, and you have to take that information, turn it to wisdom by applying that information, and then you could see a different outcome and a different result, because opportunity is definitely there. For some groups, it may be harder to find than others, but it is 100% there. Secondly, we got Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. It says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about those things. That is the way by which you decide what information you're going to put in front of you, right? And this is from the accountability standpoint. When you start your day, don't start your day with a negative thought about somebody not giving you an opportunity. Start your day with victory in the mind. Like, today is the day somebody's going to say yes to me. Somebody's going to offer me the job. I'm going to get the salary, right? Start off from a place of thinking what is lovely, what is pure. Push yourself mentally first into the successful place. And then your body and the results and the lifestyle will follow. Take the time to mentally digest those good things that you want. Chew on them. Believe God. Put scripture on it. And push forward, even in the face of adversity, because adversity comes to us all. It's just different levels, right? So push yourself past that. But for the people that are fighting the public policy agenda, keep hope. I understand how tough it is to push bills. I mean, we're still trying to secure a Voting Rights Act that Martin Luther King died for. And I think that's pretty telling, because if you think about it, full citizenship really came to African Americans 69, 70, right? We fully were citizens at that point, meaning the voting in the issues to us participating in this system from a voting standpoint was one of the final pieces to the puzzle, and we finally got that when he passed. But since it passed, there have been systematic approaches to take those little pieces away, right? Because representation does matter. I know I hear a lot of people saying, hey, man, there are different groups that come to this country and they don't care about representation. They don't care about voting. Well, that's because they have a homeland to go to. But for people, and we'll get more into that, right? They do care, whether we believe it or not. It's just there's a different standpoint, because to them, America's, it's a place of opportunity, not home. So when it's your home, you look at it a little bit differently, if that makes sense. So what I want you to understand is, from a public policy standpoint, keep hope, keep fighting. We appreciate what you do. We appreciate how hard it is to push those bills through, to make it difference for us. For the Roland Martins, the people that are fighting the fight, those people that are giving us the good information, we appreciate you. But we have to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to supporting those agendas, and also putting money behind these programs that are going to quote unquote teach accountability. So we got two scriptures. We got Romans 12 chapter 2, Philippians 4 verses 8. Success starts in the mind. Whether you're on either side of the aisle, success starts in the mind. Focus on those things that are going to push you towards it, and not those things that you think are going to be a roadblock to you getting it. Once again, this is Andrew Sims with the Sims Consulting Group. Y'all be blessed, man. Peace.